Hi there, this is Chris Barrett for MotorHeads.com, and today I wanted to take the time out to compare two popular sports cars that have taken the hybrid route. I am, of course, talking about the Porsche 911 and the Chevy Corvette, more specifically the 911 GTS that debuted to it earlier this year in May, and the C8 Corvette E-Ray that was revealed towards the end of 23. So stick around as I break down every aspect from performance and tech to features and value in order to determine how these two hybrid sports cars stack up against each other as we're heading into 25, right? So now, gone are the days where hybrids are considered boring. I mean, with the Prius and everything from back in the day, we can of course thank the holy trinity for this, for changing the perception of hybrids. Hybrids are cool these days. But most of the action was at the supercar end of the spectrum, and it's only now that we're starting to see it kind of proliferate into the sports cars, which are kind of more attainable. With the 911 and the Corvette, I mean, the lineage goes back several decades at this point, all the way to the 60s. And it's only now, after 8 generations, that we're seeing both Porsche and Chevy embrace hybridization for their flagship sports cars. So, sitting in the middle of their respective lineups, both boast hybrid tech now for the first time. However, their approaches to hybridization couldn't be more different, which makes for an excellent comparison. So let's dive in. So, unlike Porsche's e-hybrid, system that you may have seen on more mainstream models like the Panamera and the Cayenne, you might have seen those neon green accents. The T-hybrid essentially is slightly different, where the T actually stands for turbo, right? So the Carrera GTS actually houses an all-new 3.6 liter flat six engine, and it's internally dubbed the 9A3V6, and it packs a single electric turbo instead of the twin turbos that you had on the outgoing 992.1 GTS. And its basic function is to eliminate any kind of turbo lag that you generally have with turbochargers. So that's its primary function. Besides this, it has an additional electric motor that's baked into the 8-speed PDK gearbox. The battery pack recuperates that you can see up front right here. It recuperates energy from regen braking and the excess energy that's generated by the electric turbocharger. So the 911 GTS, as a result, now has a combined power output of 532 horsepower, with 54 coming from the electric motor and 449 pound-feet of torque. Um, Moving on to the Chevy now. And the Chevy has a much more substantial, far more bigger engine with a 6.8 liter V8 and an electric motor mounted on the front axle. The Chevy delivers 123 horsepower more over the Porsche, owing to that bigger displacement, with 160 coming from the electric motor. So 660, 655 horsepower combined, and 595 pound-feet of torque. And if we look at the way it's laid out, you can see that the 6.8 liter V8, so it's mid-engine, so it's sitting behind the front seat, and the battery pack itself is arranged along the spine, unlike along the spine of the vehicle, unlike in the Porsche where it's sat up front. But it's the same 1.9 kilowatt hour battery pack that recuperates energy from regen braking as well. But uh, however, the one crucial difference here is that the battery pack uh, actually offers EV capability and you get up to 4 miles of pure electric drive, up to speeds of 45 miles an hour on the E-Ray. Chevy actually calls it stealth mode. Excuse me. So the main difference, let me get to the main differences between the two systems. The Corvette E-Ray features an electric motor that's integrated into the front axle, and you're effectively getting an all-wheel drive vehicle here. This configuration allows for independent power delivery to the front wheels, enabling all electric operation as well. In contrast, the 911 GTS-T hybrid, its electric motor is integrated into the turbo and the additional one in the PDK. So it's probably primarily serving to boost performance and efficiency rather than provide independent propulsion like on the Chevy. So both approaches showcase innovation. However, they target distinct use cases. Moving on. So, how does all of this, these numbers, how do they translate in the real world? Where Porsche gets to 60 miles an hour in 2.9 seconds, whereas the Corvette is a smidge quicker, 0.4 of a second quicker, and gets to 60 in 2.5 seconds. Porsche, though, claims a higher top speed of 194, edging out the Corvette at the top end, which has a top speed of 183 miles an hour. For sheer off the line acceleration, I suppose the Corvette is slightly quicker off the line, but Porsche is always conservative with its estimates. And in the real world, I suppose uh, things could be a lot different. Moving on to the drive layouts, yes. So Porsche on the out of the box, you get rear wheel drive on the base 911 Carrera GTS. Within the GTS family, it's going to be shipping with rear wheel drive. Porsche retains its iconic rear-wheel drive with the option for all-wheel drive. So if you go for the Carrera 4 GTS, you'll be looking at a slight premium, about $7,800 for the all-wheel drive variant. Porsche's standard rear axle steering, anti-roll stabilization, and 3,500 pound curb weight should make it pretty nimble on the racetrack. If we look at the Chevy, uh, with that electric motor on the front axle, the E-Ray offers all-wheel drive out of the box, as I already mentioned. However, the Chevy is heavier than the Porsche, and I'm just not talking about the rear-wheel drive 911 GTS. Even if we do equip all-wheel drive and go for that Carrera 4 GTS, it's still going to be about 300 pounds lighter than the Corvette E-Ray, which has a curb weight of around 3,900 pounds. Moving on to exterior styling, to the exterior. I mean, the profile for the 911, it's unmistakably, it's more evolutionary than revolutionary. Very cliche term, but Porsche incorporates matrix LED headlights. We have some minor updates for the 992.2 facelift, and the Carrera GTS and the base Carrera were the first to kind of debut this the dot two update, if you will. So we do have some subtle changes for this generation. Uh, you can see it's got refreshed matrix LED headlights. The easiest way to spot a 992.2 would be these vertical arrow vents. So these are active arrow vents. And this being the GTS trim, I mean, you've got blacked out badges, you've got blacked out trims along the windows here, and you've also got blacked out wheels. So as for the Chevy, I mean, with the C8 generation, obviously the layout changed from front engine to mid engine, so it's got a more exotic car-like profile. The roofline is a lot lower compared to the Porsche, uh, uh, and with the Z06 body, the E-Ray is actually about 3.6 inches wider than the Stingray. For 25, the C8 also offers some new refreshed exterior colors like yellow tint coat and exterior purple. The brake calipers can also be uh, spec'd in a new shade called a Velocity Yellow. Both cars have come with 20 and 21 inch wheels, 20 up front and 21 at the rear. and they're available in a variety of colors and finishes. And frankly, you can spend hours on the online configurator trying to spec both of these cars. Personally, I'm a fan of the way that the Chevy looks, the C8. It was a controversial move, but I personally think that uh, I prefer it compared to the older front engine Corvettes. I'm totally okay with this look. I think for the money and for the way it looks, I think I'm definitely a fan. The Porsche is a lot more clinical. I mean, it's not a bad looking car, but you really need to be a Porscheophile to kind of really tell the models apart. And if you are that person and you can appreciate the differences, I mean, the Porsche could also be something that you might be interested in. Stepping inside. I mean, it's typical Porsche fare. Everything's ergonomically laid out, but there are a few big changes for the 992.2. Um, Two big omissions this year. I mean, gone are there's no analog gauges apart from the Sport Chrono Clocker that you see. You have no analog gauges. It's all screen this year. The other one is the start stop shifter, the shifter, the starter that you had. So, excuse me, the Lamar style starter. So that's just going to be a start stop button this time, very generic from the VW's parts bin, I suppose. VW Group, excuse me. Also, so you've got two screens, a 12.6-inch digital driver's display. It's highly configurable, at least Porsche says that. So uh, you do get that. You have a lot more configurability. And in the center, you have a 10.9-inch touchscreen. Porsche also uses race tags on the GTS trim. You have a lot of high quality finishes, and it screams sporty and sophistication. So with the GTS, that's what you're getting. Moving on to the Chevy, and the Chevy focuses on bold leather finishes for a more upmarket feel. And for 25, you have some interior cha options, including a new habanero upholstery, black with blue stitching, and standard leather steering on the lower trims here. This is the top spec trim, so you've got more carbon fiber here. But both been cabins pack driver-centric designs. But where Porsche's cabin shines with the premium materials and better headroom and ergonomics, the low-slung Chevy has a more fighter jet-like layout, and you've got with a wraparound dash. You've also got a lot more buttons going on compared to the Porsche. So I mean, if you're into buttons, of course, it's laid out. Its layout. I mean. I don't know about this. I mean, you'll have to, it's going to take some time to kind of get used to where everything is. But if you like that more sportier feel and you're going to be sitting a lot lower in the Chevy, I think you may like the Corvette. Uh, uh, Moving on. Okay, coming to cargo and practicality cargo room. Here, I think that's hands down. You can see that the Chevy has two cargo storage spaces, one up front and one at the rear. So obviously the Chevy is going to take this one. The Porsche has just one cargo storage space up front with 4.8 cubic feet of space. The Chevy, meanwhile, has 12.5 cubic feet of cargo capacity overall. Having said that, on the in the 911. You do have some space behind the seats, because the rear seats, I mean, they can be added as a no-cost option, but you do have some room within the cabin itself. As for which of these two hybrid sports cars has better daily usability, I think both models they offer a host of driver assist features, including adaptive cruise and lane keep assist. Porsche also adds forward collision warning and optional uh, lane departure warning for extra safety. So, where Porsche's hybrid tech features purely on performance, continuing to cater to purists, I think with the Corvettes. E-Ray EV mode, it makes for a more practical sports car for driving around town, quiet morning startups, for example. Also, the Chevy's larger cargo space and all-wheel drive, I suppose, make it a more versatile all-weather sports car compared to the Porsche. Uh, so this would be ideal for for short trips, etc. Yeah. So in terms of usability, that's how these two stack up. Moving on to the list of standard features on both sports cars. As standard, the 911 GTS packs rear wheel steering, active aero, matrix LED headlights, Pasm Sport suspension that's lower by 12 mm, by 10 mm, sorry, sports chrono package and sports exhaust. Whereas on the Chevy, you've got carbon ceramic brakes as standard, all-season tires, and adaptive suspension. Moving on to price comparison, the GTS is available with as a coupe and with rear or all-wheel drive, as I mentioned earlier. You also got cabriolet and targa body styles, and the base Carrera GTS starts at $166,895. And it carries a significant price premium compared to the Corvette E-Ray, which starts at 106, or just shy of 107, actually. The Corvette is available again as a coupe or as a convertible as well, and you can choose from three trims: 1LZ, 2LZ, and 3LZ. So for 60K less than the 911 GTS, I think the E-Ray seems to deliver exceptional value. Moving on to my final thoughts about how these two sports cars stack up. The 911 Carrera GTS, I suppose it excels in terms of precision German engineering. You're getting that import car uh, situation going on there. You've got luxury, which I think Porsche does better, and it's obviously going to be appealing to a slightly different audience with deeper pockets, given its price point. The Corvette E-Ray, I feel, delivers outstanding value, versatility, and big performance from the 6.2, making it more of a people's hybrid sports car. So both models push boundaries in terms of innovation, proving that hybrids actually don't have to, they don't have to be boring. Ultimately, it's going to come down to uh, luxury, heritage, performance uh, against value and practicality in order to decide which of these two sports cars should you go for. So that's all for this particular video comparison. Please let me know which model would you choose out of these two for a more in-depth comparison of how they stack up against each other. Click the link in the description and for more Porsche content, subscribe. Thank you.